Well, thank you, Don. The players are just returning to the ice, and as a matter of fact, they have just announced the presentation by the Soviet Ice Hockey Federation to Maltsev, Alexander Maltsev, and to Jerry Cheevers as the two most outstanding players in the game here on Tuesday night. There will be other presentations made from game to game. There will be the most valuable players made during this game, and there's a good look at our friend Nikolai Ozerov as he broadcast the game down on the point. Vasiliev, this could be Vasiliev's goal. It is. Vasiliev, that's the goal that the second goal that Jerry Cheevers thought was going to go up, or at least was going to stay down.
Look at around the defenseman and how he throws it up high and into the net. Look at this kid's skate. This is the amazing part of it. He guts around JC. He could have cut a little sooner, but he run into Stapleton. Goes from his forehand to his backhand and cuts it upstairs. That's the only possible spot he could have put it. The only error Cheevers could have made is that he fell down. He did that, and Vasiliev took every opportunity, and I think scored just a great goal. But his skating got that goal for him, John.
Vasiliev has picked up his second goal of the series. He also has one assist for a total of 3 points. Bobby Hull still leads the series with 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points. Andre Lacroix has 1 goal and 5 assists for 6 points. And then we have Alexander Yakashev with 5 goals. Then Petrov with 2 goals and 3 assists. Vladimir Petrov is the second Western scorer with a total of 5 points. Mikhailov now has, with his goal tonight, his third goal of the series, plus 2 assists, at a total of 5. So they have 3 Russians with 5 points apiece. As we
sutures, they tell me they have this paste, acro something, late. And anyway, they open this particular tube or container and push it in the cut and close the wound by hand. And in 5 seconds, it hardened. And this way, you don't miss a shift. The guy got right back on for the next shift, and in 2 or 3 days, it's just peeled away.
That's something I imagine that the boxing fraternity would like to have their hands on. A good cut man, of course, they're invaluable along the way.
Acrolate, I think, is the proper medical term for it.
You've done the thing.
It has just come to me. But it's interesting, Lebedev was cut in one of the games in Canada, and it was a rather deep gash. And they used this particular treatment so that he wouldn't miss any ice time. But they frantically called for Jerry Wilson a few seconds later and said the bleeding is still occurring through this particular substance. And Jerry had to cut this stuff out. It was hardened. He had to cut it out and then, of course, go ahead with the North American routine of putting the sutures in. So it doesn't work all the time. Well, we're set to go, Fred, for the second period. It's 2-1, Russia leading, and play is underway with Howe and Stapleton exchanging passes. Down it goes in the far wing. Harlamov gave it to Petrov. It bounced by him. Stapleton comes up with Gordie Howe. That pass was a little too far. Howe in after Vasiliev behind the net. Howe trying to get his stick loose, kicked it out to the blue line. Lee golfed it to the corner for Gordie Howe. Howe over to Backstrom. Backstrom tried to center it. It comes back near the line. Stapleton shoots. The rebound back to Stapleton again. He rolled it in front of the net. Here's Ricky Lee. Some pressure on now as Team Canada come to life in the early going of the second period. A long pass at center. Petrov without a stick is kicking the puck down the ice, and he does. But Lee has it in his own zone for Team Canada. Lee coming out slowly. Now he's over the blue line, coming down with Backstrom on the move. Backstrom cuts to the corner by Gusev. He tried to get it back. He did. A shot by Howe is deflected, went high, and Tretiak, taking no chances, reached up and held it.
Mark Tardif still in the penalty box on the far side, serving out his 10-minute misconduct, called at 16:38. And that breaks up the French selection line, which was reunited upon Tardif's return to the squad coming into Moscow from Canada.
And which, Fred, incidentally, in the first few minutes of the game looked very hot indeed. by far our best line. Bernier had 3 golden scoring opportunities. 1 hit the crossbar. And Hull, of course, got a goal. 2-1, Russia leading. And Russia on the move again, near the Canadian blue line. Shadreen was stopped. Shadreen again in the center ice area, bumped off the puck by Bernier. Now it's J.C. Tremblay losing it at center ice. Shadreen left it for Yakushev, ahead to Lebedev. Lebedev backs up over center, over for Shadreen, who is open. Or rather, Shadolov back to Shadreen. He took the shot. Cheever stopped it. The rebound to Lebedev. He took a swipe at it. Gets it back to Shadolov. A shot. High drive is blocked in front by Bernier. Bobby Hull in his own zone lost it to Lebedev. Out to the blue line. Sigankov took a shot. It hit Hull, and he nearly got a breakaway, but Shadolov was back covering up. Sigankov in his own zone. Laid it behind the net. Has it again. Got away from Hull for Lebedev. Lebedev stopped by Hull, and Bernier takes over. Bernier with Hull in on the wing against Shadolov in the corner. Shadolov poked at it. Bernier takes it, centered it. Here's Marty Howe, a backhand shot. An easy drive was stopped, and it was cleared out to center ice. Marty Howe lost it to Yakushev. Yakushev's rink-wide pass went to Lebedev. He hopped in over the blue line. Lebedev with Bernier after him. Lebedev checked behind the net. The puck goes to the other side. Yakushev couldn't stop Bernier. Out to Hull. Hull going down with Hull on the move again. Hull gets into Hull, and his stick was lifted by Sigankov. 2-1 Russia. Team Canada looking a little better now and coming close again in the second period. Mahavlich lost it. Hull lost it at center, and Marty Howe comes across center. A pass in on the wing for McGregor. McGregor picked it up behind the goal, then lost it. And Shadreen is coming out. Ahead of him, Vikulov. The long pass ahead. Couldn't hit Malsev. It bounced by him. Vikulov is stopped in the corner. Now it's Team Canada. 3 of them coming to center. McGregor on the wing. Going in with Mahavlich. Into Mahavlich. And he failed to tip it by Tretiak. He reached out for it. Just couldn't make contact. Henderson falls down. Now the play goes right on. Mahavlich went into the fray. Mahavlich comes out front with it. Here's a shot by Schmier. And his shot was wide. Rick Smith gets a drive away. And Tretiak gloved that one as he covered on the short side. But I'll tell you, Team Canada is looking 100% better now.
They trail 2-1. This game coming to you from the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow.
Two to 1 is the score. Russia out front as it goes back of the net for Lutsenko. On the board, Schmier stopped it from the blue line. Vikulov couldn't take it away from him. Schmier on the board, cuts for the net, tries to drive in front. Mahavlich shoots. Petyak kicked that one out. Mahavlich was tied up in front by Kudin. And coming back for Kuzin, he took a drive. That was stopped in front, Kapustin rather. And Cheevers held it long enough for the whistle to go, and there will be a face-off in the Canadian zone to the right of Jerry Cheevers.
Kapustin, the well-regarded young man who's been out the last few games with a broken finger, but he's back in there now, threaded into the lineup as Maltsev came over the bench very slowly. He's one of their top guns.
Anderson into the face-off circle against Lacroix of Canada. 2-1 Russia. Lacroix got the draw for Hull behind the net. He gives it to Stapleton. Stapleton on the board, coming out with Lacroix. The rink-wide pass was stopped, but Hull has it. Hull speeding in. Hull was stopped in front and couldn't shoot it. Kapustin turning around in his own zone, goes behind the net, gave it to Kudin. He cleared it up on the right wing. That would go all the way for icing likely. It does. It's icing against the Soviet Union. And the play will come back to the right of Tretiak. They've played 4 minutes and 9 seconds of the second period. Faced off to the right of Tretiak. Vasilyev comes out on the defense again. With Gusev. Lacroix to Hull. Shoot! And his low shot is stopped by Tretiak. A rather easy shot for Hull. Lacroix centered it. Tretiak stopping it, and he's going to hold it, I think. Yes, he does. Nobody in front of him. Covering up, and he decides to hold it until they get organized, and they'll do it all over again to the right of the Russian goaltender. Hull standing behind Lacroix, who undoubtedly will try to get the draw back to Bobby Hall. Puck is dropped in, and it went to Mikhailov, to Harlamov, speeding away. Harlamov up near the blue line, circles back again. He's a great skater, played it back to Gusev. Gusev up on the line. And it's Petrov in with Mikhailov across the blue line. Mikhailov poked it into Harlamov, had his stick lifted, and Bobby Hall, covering up, cleared it back in the Canadian net. He got away from Mikhailov, dropped it in the corner. Now a pass for Stapleton from Lee. Stapleton up for Lacroix. Lacroix stopped, but Stapleton trailing the play, brings it on himself, gets over center ice. Stapleton still has it for Lacroix. Lacroix over the line, dropped it in for Bobby Hall, but Petrov cleared it away. A break for Harlamov, feeding in. He's all alone, and Cheevers made the save with Ricky Lee getting back to harass Harlamov. The Russian fans wanted a penalty on it. Bobby Hall for Stapleton in the corner. He left it for Lacroix, and here he comes. A pass to McKenzie. Back to Lacroix, to McKenzie. McKenzie down the boards on the right wing. A pass to Hall was too high and went by him. Petrov comes out again. In for Mikhailov and Harlamov. The shot is blocked. The rebound. Mikhailov couldn't center it. Harlamov was bumped by Stapleton in front of the net. And the puck comes out to McKenzie, who's down to center. McKenzie in on the right wing. In front for Bobby Hall. And Hall couldn't get by Petrov. Petrov's pass down to Lebedev. He's coming in with Harlamov. Lebedev to Harlamov, and he's jammed out of the play by Backstrom. Into the corner. Backstrom got his skate down on it, and there's no further play.
Soviet Union 2. Team Canada 1. Let's pause briefly for station identification.
Canadian fans in the background, hollering for a goal. Canada trailing by 1. It's 2-1. 2 quick goals by the Soviets in the first period. At 25 seconds, Mikhailov from Harlamov, and then Vasilyev, while Marty Howe was serving a 2-minute penalty for elbowing at 2:43. It wasn't until 15:56 when Rejahoul tipped in a shot by Spear. Their shot came from the blue line, and Houle, standing off the crease, tipped it in. And that's been the story of the scoring. 2-1, Russia leading.
Investigation across the way is decided misconduct when it will expire. Gordon Howe escorting the referee Dombrowski over there to check on it. Face off in the Team Canada zone. Ralph Backstrom in there to the right of Cheevers. Now Stapleton has gone to Dombrowski, and Stapleton coming toward the Team Canada bench. The bench is immediately below us, the penalty box on the far side. So we're all set to start as Backstrom moves in. Bob?
Chad Ream against Backstrom on the face-off. Kicked it over to one side. It goes back of the goal, and Tremblay takes it. A long pass went down the ice, and Howe couldn't catch up to it. Zagonkov was back quickly. Zagonkov put it on Markey, and they score! Gordie Howe from Mark Howe, and it's a tie ball game, 2-2. Gordie Howe jumping in front of the net as Zagonkov fed it back near the blue line, and he put it on right on Mark Howe's stick. He took the shot, and Gordie, speeding in front of the net, just tipped it in, and it's a 2-2 tie. 6:15 the time.
Well, the family doing it there, and it set the Canadian crowd into an uproar. They're behind that particular net. The banners come out. It's a new hockey game here, and Team Canada seems to have come back, righted itself, and putting itself into position here to take over and take command of this game. If they can just maintain the disciplined deportment, keep up this checking. Cheevers has supplied the goaltending. He's been simply splendid in there, and Howe now equaling the count with his third goal from Sun Mark at 6:15. Bob?
And you can see the delight written all over the old fellow's face when he saw that red light go on. Tip in from Mark Howe. Here's Mark again on the left wing. Took a shot in front of Gordie, and he's tied up by Shadalov. Play goes right on, right in front of the net it comes. And Mark Howe is too well covered. Backstrom on the board. Gordie Howe chopped at it, couldn't keep it in. It was cleared out to center ice by Shadreen. J.C. Trombley lost it to Lebedev. Lebedev put it on Gordie Howe's stick, and he's in front of his own net. Now Howe in the corner, stick handling with it. Finally had it knocked away by Lebedev. Now Howe again tried to bring it out. Sagunkov stopped it, shot it wide of the net. Cheevers tipped it away for Trombley. Over on the other side is Gordie Howe, with Shadalov watching him. Backstrom trying to catch up to it. Sagunkov is back in his own zone. Shadreen coming out with a pass to Lebedev. Yakushev moving in. Yakushev was bumped by Marty Howe and couldn't go through. Then it was cleared down the ice. It'll be icing if it reaches the goal line, and it does. Icing against Team Canada.
A 2-2 hockey game. You're listening to Team Canada 74 on CBC Radio.
Tardif, who's back on, having served his misconduct penalty on the boards in the Russian zone. In for a hole behind the net. Hole tried to center it. Bernier is after it. It's cleared down the ice by the Russians as this French line is doing great work for Canada. Bernier, Hull, and Tardif looking very good tonight. Now in their own zone, Tardif pumped it ahead for Bernier and Hull, the three of them together down the left wing. Hull tried to get by the big defenseman. Shootin was knocked to the ice, but Tardif went in quickly. Tardif centered it to the side of the net, and Luchenko bringing it out for Russia. Couldn't get by Tardif. In for Bernier. Bernier centered it right back in front, and Shootin was there. In on the left wing, the Russians bring it out to Pustin going down. Over the line, Vikulov. Anderson scores! Anderson put a shot through the legs of Jerry Cheevers, and the Russians take the lead again at 8:22. That makes it 3-2.
Three-on-two break, and the Soviets very speedily coming back. Good passing, and that swift shot beating Cheevers. So it's 3-2 for the Soviet Union at 8:22.
Play underway again. Stapleton fed it ahead for Henderson too far. And Mikhailov, a long pass for Harlamov, is tapped away from him, but it was offside anyway, up over center ice. Harlamov looking for the long pass. He got it, but he was offside when he picked it up.
Anderson's first goal, and Vikulov draws an assist.
Faced off inside the blue line. It's cleared in from center ice by Lee. Behind the net, Gusev on the board. Coming out for Russia, stopped by Frank Mahovlich. McGregor and Henderson are in there. McGregor got in front and couldn't hang on to it. Gusev shoots it to the line. Stopped by Henderson. Henderson got it loose but lost control of it. And it goes back to the net. Harlamov in the corner. A long pass up on the wing for Mikhailov and Petrov. Mikhailov over the blue line. Tried to stick handle through. Henderson got back to clear it. Harlamov picked it up. Shoots it back of the net. Mikhailov is unmolested going after it. He left it for Petrov. And now it's Stapleton. Out for McGregor. The pass was behind McGregor. And Gusev is back in his own zone. 3-2, Russia leading. Now this is Gusev. Stopped by McGregor and Mahovlich with him. McGregor is stopped in front of the net. Couldn't make a play. Bobby Hull up the blue line. Took a quick shot. That's stopped by Bretyak. Hull went in after it again and couldn't find it. Lebedev speeds out. Down to Harlamov. Harlamov gets set. Back to Petrov. And the shot is stopped by Cheevers. Frank Mahovlich up to McKenzie at center with Hull. Hull is stopped by Gusev. Back in for Russia. The drive. That one was wide on the short side. Frank Mahovlich stopped by Lebedev. It goes back of the net. Petrov and Stapleton go after it. And it's Lee to the corner with McKenzie and ready to help. It was cleared into the crowd by Rick Lee. And there's no further play.
A 3-2 hockey game. The Soviet Union leading this game, coming to you from the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow.
Face off to the right of Cheevers. 3-2 Russia. J.C. Tremblay behind the net for Canada. Getting set from the corner. Tremblay's pass down to Lacroix. He's all alone there. And three of them stop him. It bounces near the Canadian blue line. And Shadreen brought it in with Lebedev. Again, Tremblay goes to the corner, drops it there. Marty Howe tipped it ahead for Bobby Hull on the left wing boards coming out. Hull backs up in his own zone with Tremblay handling the puck, or rather Marty Howe again, giving it to Hull. Hull gets away across his own line. Tries to get by Shadreen, was stopped. Now Hull takes it in the center ice area, waits for Lacroix to come back out, and J.C. Tremblay gives it to McKenzie. McKenzie shoots, and Tretiak stopped it on the short side. McKenzie and Sagonkov bump together. Out to the blue line. Marty Howe has a chance now. He fakes his shot. Marty out of the corner, back of the net. Tried to center it. J.C. Tremblay has it. Tremblay on a bad angle. Marty Howe gets set. The goal post has been moved. The entire net shoved out of position, and the play was called. Doesn't take much to move those nets, Fred.
Well, there was a lot of traffic. Lebedev trying to tie up Bobby Hull right in the crease. Tretiak standing there, and the bulk of the three men just moving the net off its moorings. But I'll tell you, that is not a good place to be if you're an offensive hockey player moving in there, because the work, the stick work, and the body work in there is just tremendous. And Dombrowski's just taking a look at it as a spectator.
Face off to the right of Tretiak. Gordie Howe got the draw. Mark Howe couldn't shoot it. And Kapustin picks it up quickly and comes out over the line. A long pass ahead was tipped into the Canadian zone. Anderson went in after Rick Smith. Behind the net, Mark Howe was given a jolt by Kapustin. Then Mark Howe took Kapustin out of the play. They hold it on the board. Spear and Vikulov pushing at each other. Play was called for a face-off in the Canadian zone. Nearing the 12-minute mark of this second period, 3-2, Russia leading. They line up for the draw. Here it is. It bounces in front. And Mark Howe, nice bit of stick handling to come out with his father, Gordie, on the left. And Gordie Howe stopped it at the blue line. Gave it to Speer. Speer into the corner. Backstrom went over after it. He was slow and moving for it. Gordie Howe takes it. Mark Howe back of the net. In front it goes. And out near the line, Smith took a shot. Right in front. Backstrom couldn't set up Gordie Howe. And Backstrom is bowled over by Luchenko. Backstrom hollering for a penalty. It's cleared down the ice by the Russians. And icing called.
Well, that's the type of inconsistent officiating. And the fans back of Tretiak in the section, mainly populated by Canadians, venting their displeasure with lusty booing.
Face off to the left of Tretiak now. 3-2, Russia leading. Backstrom, Mark Howe, and Gordie Howe. From the face-off, Backstrom tying up his man. And then it got in front where Gordie Howe failed to get a stick on it. Backstrom carried the defenseman Vasiliev into the boards. Now they fight for possession. Vasiliev and Backstrom. They're swinging over there. Vasiliev took a swing at Backstrom, but the play goes right on. No penalty called. Harlamov dropped it for Petrov. He tried to set up Mikhailov in front. Smith gloved it away. Now a penalty is called, I believe, against Canada. Mikhailov was bumped down in the corner by Mark Howe, and now Backstrom is arguing with the referee. And this is where they just have to keep their cool somehow and not fight back. A cross-checking penalty, this one against Mark Howe.
This game is coming to you from the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow. And Bob Cole at the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow. Canadian fans upset. The Canadian bench certainly upset. Billy Harris down below. The inconsistent call. Taking a look at the penalty assessments, it's been all Team Canada. Marty Howe, Smith, Tardif, and Mark Howe And Canada under pressure right at the outset from the 25-second mark when they gave up a goal, a power play goal at 2:43, shaved the margin at 15:56 of the first period, equalized at 6:15 on a goal by Gordon Howe, and Russia went ahead 3-2 on Anishin's goal at 8:22. But certainly, this chippiness is creeping into the game again. Backstrom hung up behind the net there, and no call, and this is what aggravated Ralph the other night with a call that wasn't made, and he got a 10-minute misconduct. So they're just going to have to keep their cool with it, Bob, and I don't know how they're going to do it.
Petrov is going back into the fray. Now, there's an example of that quick suturing, and we can call it suturing, with the pace. He's back in action as Canada breaks out. McGregor and Henderson, a two-man break, a passing shot. Oh! And McGregor was upended with a great save by Tretiak on Henderson. Harlamov got it back along the blue line. It bounces out over the line to center ice. Oh, and McGregor has given a jolt at the far side and a punch. McGregor is being punched now all over the place, and I believe this could erupt into something we have never seen before in this type of a series. McGregor, who is probably one of the more gentlemanly players in North America, was taking quite a beating at the far side. He did not throw a punch. Did not throw a punch at all, and he took 3 or 4 hard rights.
Now, if McGregor gets thrown out of this game here, I'll tell you. Stapleton is over there, and he's giving him the sweater. He's pulling that sweater. It looks as though McGregor is headed in there. He gave him the choke sign.
Well, we don't have to tell North Americans the type of hockey that Bruce McGregor has been playing over the years in his career, and this was just another example. He just took everything that the Russian handed out, and this is something that Team Canada must try to do. But let's face it, when you do it, and it still doesn't work, it can be very frustrating indeed.
Well, it looks as though Vasiliev has picked up 5 minutes, and McGregor 5 minutes. Now, good grief. How can you justify that?
Can't believe it. Just can't believe it. Let me tell you, everybody, that's a 5-minute penalty for taking 3 or 4 shots on the nose is something that I've yet to see in a rule book, even here.
No way McGregor should be in the penalty box to start with. He had his stick held, and it works both ways. On that last play in the corner, Smith upended a man. There's no question about it. And Smith should have been called for a penalty in there. It works both ways. And yet, when you have this thing come up, how upsetting and frustrating it must be. Harris is down below talking to Pat Stapleton. Paul Henderson. It just upsets what could be excellent hockey. We've seen so much good hockey, Bob, in the games in Canada, and there were flashes of it the other night, but this is just inexcusable. The refereeing the other night was, as I termed it in a report, a tasteless Polish joke. Beyond the capabilities of these men, and yet they're threaded in. Deeply distressing. Here's Bob.
Well, Team Canada is short-handed now. They're playing 5 against 4. Backstrom in the center ice area will try to rag it a bit. Gives it to Tremblay. Up to Stapleton. Stapleton ahead to Backstrom. Backstrom tried to cut in. Nearly got by Shadalov. Shadreen coming back with Yakushev. Yakushev on the board. Fed it back to the blue line. Sagunkov into Yakushev again. Yakushev along the boards, just waiting with it. Now he spins around in the zone, gets it back to Sagunkov, to Shadalov on this side. He might shoot it. He gives it to Sagunkov. It's gloved ahead by Stapleton. Now again, Sagunkov to Shadalov. Shadalov gets set. Team Canada playing the box well. The drive is stopped by Cheevers. Cheevers is slow in getting up. He's down on one knee. Now he's back up. Along the boards again. Shadalov near the blue line, looking to work it free to somebody. Sagunkov shoots it, and his shot was wide. It comes out to Shadalov. Shadalov gets set. Team Canada just wasting time and standing in front of the Russians. They don't know what to do. Back to Shadalov again. Shadalov shoots, scores! everybody, including Cheevers. That's another power play goal for Russia, and it makes it 4-2.
Well, that brought the fans here, the Soviet fans, up and certainly put the damper on the Canadian contingent. A second power play goal, Shatlov doing the damage. And that brings Markow out of the penalty box, and the teams now will play it at 5-a-side. Sigankov drew an assist on the play.
At center ice, Frank Mahovlich. Team Canada down 2 goals now with Henderson. Henderson lost it, a 2-man break. It's Vikulov breaking in all alone. Vikulov right in. And Cheevers came flying out, lost his stick in the process. Frank Mahovlich goes behind the goal. Mahovlich left it for Smith. Cheevers still without his stick. Schmier tried to shoot it down the ice, and he does. And Rick Smith gets the goal stick back for Cheevers. Good play by Cheevers on that break. Vikulov again trying to move in against Schmier. Schmier in the corner. Knocked it behind the net for Frank Mahovlich. Out for Henderson. He's coming out slowly. Henderson near center ice. Goes up near the Russian blue line. Still has it. Then loses it. And they clear it down. Shoot it into Vikulov. Vikulov tries to shoot it. Had his stick lifted by Henderson. And Schmier lost it near the side of the net. Goes back to pick it up. Anderson after him is in the mesh, and there's no further play. They'll get a face-off in the Canadian zone to the left.
You're listening to Team Canada 74 on CBC Radio.
The face-off play underway again, and Hull comes out to center. Hull with Lee. Lee cutting up near the blue line to Bobby Hull. He took a shot that was blocked by Sigankov, and the Russian Petrov bringing it out. Gusev across his own blue line to center ice. Gusev pushed it ahead for Harlamov. Stapleton watching him. They get their sticks up right away. Harlamov forgot about the puck entirely. Lee is coming back. Rick Lee over the line, just in front. Wade passed it into Hull, and Hull is stopped. He centered it, but Petyak covered it easily. A pass to Harlamov went by him. Stapleton takes it near his own blue line. Gives it to Rick Lee. 4-2, Russia leading. With 3:50 left to play in the second period. Stapleton bringing it in. Stapleton across the line, giving it to Hull. He lost it, and he has to go back to center. Lacroix has to get back on side as Hull passed it over to the far side for Lacroix. The Russians lining up at the blue line. Here's Hull with a chance, and a shot stopped by Petyak. Hull letting his shot go, but put it right up the goaltender. Now Gusev working it out with Petrov down to center ice. Petrov up over the Canadian line, dropping it back, and Bobby Hull picks it up. Hull coming back all alone. He has 3 Russians to beat. Shoot! And stopped by Petyak again. 4-2 the score with 3:10 left to play in the second period. Russia out front. Chadreen circling at center, coming up over the line. He got by Tremblay. Chadreen couldn't stop Houle, who came back to check him. Now Régin Houle coming out, weaving his way near the blue line for Bernier. Coming up with Marty Howe. Bernier is bumped at the blue line by Luchenko. And now Bernier is given another jolt. The play is called. Let's see if there's going to be a penalty. Luchenko and Chadreen each had a go at Bernier. Chadreen was the second man in, and the Canadian fans are hollering again for a penalty, but there's no penalty coming. And that one happened. Well, the referee had to get out of the way, actually.
He couldn't be any closer. Just couldn't be any closer to it. Now Kalagin has called his 2 forwards in. That's Mikhailov and Chadreen coming in there, along with big number 3, Vladimir Luchenko, and Kalagin giving them some instruction as Billy Harris now calls, looks as though he's trying to get the attention of J.C. Tremblay. Now he calls Bernier over. There's a good deal of room in front of the bench, so you can go right to the rink side. He's called his foreman in now. Team Canada in there, away whites with the red trim. The Soviet team in all red. Red helmets, red sweaters, pants, stockings. And the only thing really red, the back of the necks of the Canadians. I'll tell you, they just have to be so frustrated and upset with the tenor of this hockey game, which has come unstrung in this second period.
Mikhailov backs up in his own zone. Laid it ahead for Shadreen. Coming down at center. The pass to Chudin on the right wing. He was stopped at the line by Hull. And Russia coming back to cover up Luchenko for Chudin. He's out on the wing. Mikhailov got away from Marty Howe's check. Marty Howe made a good run at him. But Mikhailov saw him coming and moved quickly. J.C. Tremblay near center ice with Marty Howe. Marty Howe fed it on an open wing. Nobody was there at all. And Chudin, the defenseman, cleared it in. Marty Howe has it at the Canadian blue line. Out over it now. A pass on the wing. Coming down McGregor. Gulp one in off the boards. Bernier is after it. Bernier stopped by Vasilyev. Now it's cleared near the blue line where Marty Howe shoots it to the corner. 4-2 the score. Russia leading. Team Canada needing a goal with less than 2 minutes to go in the period. And coming out again, Vasilyev for Russia has a hole on the wing. Shoots! And he grazed the side of the post with it. Just missed on the short side. In the center ice area, Mikhailov, number 13, back for Luchenko. A minute and a half left in the period. 4-2, Russia out front. And Anderson takes it. He lost it with a pass that Bernier takes it over the blue line. Shoots! And he drilled a hard one wide. Now Hull with the rebound. Hull tried to center it. Mark Howe gets set to make a play. To Schmier, and his shot is wide. Kapustin on the corner. Brought it in behind his own net. Came right in front of the goal with it. Kapustin coming out. A pass ahead for Anderson. Vikulov on the right wing. Vikulov got it in front. Kapustin all alone. And he landed on it. He was in all alone. 55 seconds left in the period. Anderson's pass on the right wing. Vikulov is stopped by Paul Schmier. Schmier lost it again. Now Vikulov stopped by Gordie Howe. Howe gave him a good ride on the board. Back of the net in the corner, Schmier being bothered by Anderson. Bernier tried to tip it ahead for Howe and failed. Kapustin had him covered. Now Schmier again turning. He has to hold it with his skate now with 31 seconds left in the period. 4-2 the score. Russia leading. And Canada needing a goal desperately before this period is over.
31 seconds remaining in the second period. We're going to have a chat via tape with Ralph Lashushin and Peter Walker of the embassy. We managed to corner them yesterday. They're very busy fellows connected with the embassy here, and we're going to get some of the background of life for Canadians in the city.
Right off the draw, Evers had to make a stop with a skate save. Tremblay's pass too far for Stapleton. Mark Howe, though, at the blue line, gave it to him. Then to J.C. Tremblay again to Stapleton. Stapleton up for Gordie Howe. He has a little trouble controlling it. Then lost it to Vikulov. Vikulov to Anderson. Mark Howe had him covered, though. They push at each other. With 8 seconds left, Stapleton ahead for Backstrom. But he was offside at the blue line. And the play was called. That should kill the period. Just 5 seconds left to go in this second period. Gordie Howe tried it at 6:15 from Mark Howe as he tipped it in on Mark Howe's shot. Then Anderson made it 3-2 from Kapustin at 8:22. Shatilov on a power play, the second power play goal of the game for the Russians at 13:57. 4-2, 5 seconds left. Back to the Soviet blue line. Vasilyev comes back inside the line, and the horn goes to end the second period.
The score at the end of the second period, the Soviet Union 4, Team Canada, WHA 2.
So with the score, the Soviets 4, Canada 2. This is game 6 from Moscow.